Hey guys, so I'm going to try and do a non-rambly review of a series, which might be complicated on both fronts. One, because I've never reviewed like a completed series before. Two, because I'm prone to ramble. So we'll see how it goes. So the series is the MaddAddam Trilogy by Margaret Atwood, and it is one of my favorites, so I also have to try and stop myself from fangirling too much. The most recent book that came out was MaddAddam. It is the last, sadly, book. And let's see, I don't know how to review a series without like spoilers, so I'm going to have to be as vague as possible in reviewing this last one. So, let's see, premise of the book and of the books. And if you like these things, you will like this series. It is dystopian and apocalyptic, so it's told from perspectives that are before and after what the series calls the flood. So let's see. Nope, wrong one. Oryx and Crake is the first. It blew my mind. I love it. This is probably my favorite of the series because it just introduced this world. You start out after the flood has happened, and so you're left with what you think is the last human on the planet and how he's trying to survive, all this stuff, and he's telling his story to these new people called the Crakers, who you learn are these genetically modified people who this scientist Crake created, and he caused a flood to wipe out all of humanity, and because he thought it was donezo. And so Snowman, the last human, is telling the Crakers about Oryx and Crake, their creators, and so through those stories, you're getting looks into the dystopian world that was, and I love it. Margaret Atwood is so great at creating just these wonderful things. She did it in Handmaid's Tale. She's done it now. She's just, her world building is so complete, and things like you wouldn't even think of including, she does, because, you know, she's the writer, not me. So I fell absolutely head over heels for Oryx and Crake. It's so great. And let's see, I'm trying to think of, I don't want to spoil the next books. At the end of the book, you're introduced to some new characters. And so Year of the Flood boop, boop, picks up where Oryx and Crake takes off, leaves off, and it tells a different, same time period, different perspective of this story. So you have Oryx and Crake is going this way, and everyone meets up at the end, and you're kind of left with this cliffhanger, and then it starts at that same cliffhanger, but then follows a different storyline to get to that same point, and then it ends at that same meetup that Oryx and Crake ended at, and then you have MaddAddam that meets at that point and then just takes off in a different direction. I know you need a map. Year of the Flood was also very great and just built even more in that world, and so I was just happy-go-lucky. I loved it. I think what I love so much about this series is that you either have, in most cases, a dystopian novel or an apocalyptic novel. It is a rare case that you have a dystopian apocalyptic novel, and I love it. It made me so happy. And so I loved being able to see more of both of those worlds and getting more knowledge of the before the flood world and seeing how more groups of people are surviving after the flood. And then, so definitely Oryx and Crake is my favorite. And I would say Year with the Flood and MaddAddam are probably tied. MaddAddam introduces you to the last main character. He's been mentioned throughout the first two books, but you never really know him. His name is Zeb. And it takes off from the point where everyone met up and realized there's more than one survivor. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler. It takes off from that point and then shows them. It's kind of like the first two books are building up and destroying the worlds, and then this one is moving on to the future. So it's not a bad book. It's great. I love it. I love this whole series. I'm going to keep saying that. This was probably not the strongest of them. Might be personal preference that I like seeing worlds torn down and then just like gone. But Margaret Atwood provided some hope for us and tore down the world, started a new one. And so this is like the seedlings of maybe things aren't terrible forever. It was a good resolution book. It tied up everything nicely. It left me satisfied. Although I would have really just loved... I think the thing I didn't like about this one is that I feel like there was still some room to develop the before the world. But maybe that's just me yearning for as much dystopia as possible. Yeah, all in all, great series. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. If you have heard of it and you've been putting it off, go get it right now. I will say this much. I am a stickler for having my bookshelves match. And I was so excited that MaddAddam came out that I bought the hardcover. And that doesn't happen. So if that, you can ignore the whole review before this and just take it as Paula liked this book so much that she bought a hardcover of it. Or liked the series. So check it out. Highly recommend it. And if you have read it, share your thoughts, opinions, which was your favorite in the comments.